Hello, everyone, and you are welcome back to class. Today, we are going to be discussing Power Query, and this time, we're going to be looking at some financial situation. So, if you are given an information that is actually bulky, not as big as this, there are sometimes that they give you information and it's messed up, it's not neat, and you have to use your pivot table. You cannot use your pivot table in an information that is not organized. So, the first thing we want to do is we want to clean this data. If you are looking at this set of data here, it's just revenue and expenses for a particular establishment. So they have a design studio, they have a restaurant, they have a bakery, and this is their sales from January to June, and then July to December. So that's each half of the year. They want to check how they are behaving, let's say, for that year, or how they behaved for that year. So the first thing we do, like I always say, is to get the table selected. Then we come to data. This time we are going to take from table range, and we are just going to press OK. Note, I did not use my table as headers because we don't know how we are going to rearrange this data yet. So we just leave it like that while the Power Query editor loads. Good, perfect. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of all these excess spaces, all this, and I'm sure you know where they are coming from. They are coming from here, 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 and there. We are going to come back up here, and the first thing we are going to do, we'll go to transform data. We need to fill up all these empty spaces. So we go to fill. How do we fill? Come here, and then you either fill up and down. You can't fill from this way to this way. You either fill up and down, and then now we want to fill down. The reason why we are filling down, it was only this revenue there before, only this expenses, so it's putting it there now that this is the revenue for this and this, and this is the expenses from this and this. Do you understand? I really hope that you understand what I mean. So we've removed all those excess uh, columns that are there. We filled it. We can now filter these rows. Let me explain to you what I mean by to filter the rows. So when you are using your pivot table, you can get all the summation you want to get. So we want to get rid of it here to make our work shorter and easier to maneuver. Let's remove this because we can always get it from the pivot table. Let's remove this total expenses, total revenue, and then okay. So you see it looks shorter and better. Imagine if this data was a whole large one, you would have reduced it to something that you can actually start sitting down and working on. So now that we've done that, let's transpose. Transpose means we are flipping it. Now you will see the reason why I did that. Aha. So we are flipping that information that we had. It will help us to delete all these excess rows here. You see this first column that is empty, that has just null all the way. It's because all this place is actually empty. See this first place, second place empty. See where revenue is. All of the rest of the column is actually empty. Of the rows, I mean, is actually empty. So when we transpose, we can do that. From here, we can click on it, right click. We actually don't need it. It holds no values. It doesn't make um any sense at all. Okay, so we've removed that. We removed that. Let me check again. Yes, we've not removed for expenses. We have for revenue here. Let's remove it. Empty. They are all empty. They are null all the way. So we don't need that. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good to go. I've removed all of that. Yeah, so we can be back here. Now let's still fill again. Because now this is sales 1, 2, 3, and this is for January to June. Sales 1, 2, 3, this is for June to July. Instead of all these empty spaces, let us fill it. So we come back here again and we fill down. Aha, you can see how it is now. We've removed all those excess columns. We've done that ahead. So now we actually want to merge. But before we merge any of this, I want to explain something. So we can get the summation from the pivot table. We are going to do the same thing here that we did to others. This sum of sales and this sum of sales, we are going to uncheck it. You see, it has reduced and it actually looks better. It looks better this way because we can always get them from the pivot table. So we'll come here, like we selected before. Do we need to come down? Let's look at it. Okay, so I think the next thing we should do is merge. Now, let me explain something to you. So this January to June as sales 1 2, this July to December as sales 1 2. So it means all this information here is for only June to July. January to June, and all this information here is July to December. So that is why we are going to merge these two. So I'm clicking on my shift now, shift arrow right, and then we are going to merge these columns together. We are merging them together. Yes, we need a separator. We can use a colon or a comma. Let's probably use a comma. We are going to actually unmerge later, but for now let's use a comma to merge. I don't need to rename any of this because we are still going to unmerge later. I don't really need it, so I'm going to click on it. Okay, can you see how it is now? I hope we understand uh how this has come about. Then we will obviously we can transpose. Can we see that now? When we transpose, can you see how it is? So now that we have done all of that, we want to use the first row as headers. We use this first row as headers. Let me explain to you why. So you see that excess space has gone, and then you will notice that these headers, they are going to actually work for us. They are going to work for us when we have to create our pivot table, because it won't be easy. If I had made them the other things headers, imagine the commotion that will have happened. But now that I have gotten a data that looks sane enough for me to work with, I can now say let us use the first row as headers. Now the next thing we want to actually do, we want to do this. We are going to unpivot other columns. You will see the effect this will have. Aha, I hope we understand now. So all of the information that we have been dealing with has been narrowed down to something like this that is actually easier to deal with. It has become something that is now that we've done it, we can now rename. We can now rename it. And first of all, here I would like us to actually remember we merged this. So we want to split this. Let's click on this alone and let's come here and split it. How do we split it? You split by delimiter. And what did we use? Did we use space? No, I remember very well we used a comma. Did we use a comma? Yes, we used the comma. We used the comma. I'm right. We used the comma, and then okay. See, it has split it. Now it's making more sense. So we can rename it from here. We can rename this. This one has revenues and expenses. Okay. Um this one has revenue and expenses. This one now we'll probably say the companies or the products. Let's say product. This has the product. Then this one now we will probably call it the month. uh let's say the dates, or let's say month. And then this one has sales. Okay, and the value, I think we can leave value as value. So now that we have done all of this, what we did here, this splitting, we will still use it in other examples, but it's good to know that there are some times that you have information that maybe they put the first name and the second and the last name together with their date of birth and everything, and is in one column, and you want to split it. That's where what that magic I did now is actually important. So you look for it in that space. So what separates them is this space. If it's a space, you'll be able to get something like this out of it. Makes your work faster. So those things that are merged together, you'll be able to quickly do it on Excel. This is the beauty of Excel. I think we are good to go on this. So we can now go back home, and we actually want to load. Should we do this? Should we load it on the same place? No, let's load it on another sheet. Let's Yes, very good. So all that information we had, I think it was on, yeah, it was here. all this information that we had, we now have it here, and now this is what it actually looks like. Way better. Now we can from here decide that we want to create our um, pivot table. From here we can create our pivot table, very easy and straightforward. We come here, let's I hope I mentioned this, that you can actually have these things. You have recommended pivot tables. Like now, this one now is already showing you, do you want just the value of the product versus the month? Do you want it as the value versus product? Some of these things are actually there already for you to be doing your analysis. But for the fact that it is class, I would prefer that we actually start um doing it together from the scratch. Yes, from that table range. So let's take a new, should we create a new worksheet for that? Okay, I think we can. Let's create a new worksheet. So how do we want to start? For the rows, I think we should put this in the rows. Yeah, it's already coming up for the rows, and then maybe uh okay, where is that? Where did you go to? Where did you go to? Okay, so we have the product. Let's put the product to here. Yes, it's looking like it's making sense. What of the sales? I think let me put sales here, and of course values will remain here. Values remain here. um we want to put this month. Let me see, let me look at it already. I think we need to put the month. Can it be before sales? Let's see. Yes, yes, it's actually fine. Okay, so you see it here, all those excess spaces, all those things. Imagine this is a whole big data. This is how you would just come here. It has done all the summation for you. All those summation that we removed, it has done it for the expenses and all of that. It has done it. Can you see that? So from here, you can do whatever you want with it. You can decide to change the way it looks. You can design it from here. You can analyze it. Remember, I told you you can actually, let's see, but let's put it back. I think for clarity's sake, we can change the color. Okay, let's change this color. We've gone through this in a particular class. So the subtotals, everything is here. Do you want to show it? Do you not want to show it? How do you want to do it? So I noticed that, okay, so if I say now I want to do my net income, I can come somewhere here under each of the total. Do you understand? So we have the total for January to June, July, like that. For sales one, this is for sales one total sales, and this is for sales two, the total sales. So I can come here, actually I can come here and say um net income. So we are going to come here. Don't forget, we are using formulas. Is equal to let's say that's total revenue minus uh, total expenses, then enter. Okay, so that's the value there. Of course, remember, you can set this up. Let's fill it with maybe this. Okay, let's do this. Let's make this change too. You can actually make this maybe white. Can we do white? Yes, we can do white. We can do white. We can come here and use this. Yes, format printer to just make it look like that. We can come here, do the same thing. For this, we do net income. Please, the way your work is actually going to look depends solely on you. It depends solely on you. So we can format printer again and put it here to make it easier. And then we come here. You understand? We get the net um total. So we are doing equal to, don't forget for your formulas, everything that you learn, you end up using. Everything that you learn, you end up using. So you have to pay attention to each class. If you have to go back to it, go back to it. If you have to think about it, let it sink in. Always go back and practice so that you'll be able to get it. So that is all. That this is the income, net income for sales one and sales two for this time and then the other time. All these things very easy, very straightforward. There are things that you can do in your spare time. There are data sets that you can actually use to practice. You just make this to be a little bit easier for you to understand. Sometimes you don't even need all of this. You don't want to see the grid lines, you can take it off. Just how your work looks really depends on you. Nobody's going to teach you all that in depth. You have to sit down, you have to be creative about how you want your report that you want to give, how you want it to look. So this pivot table now, you can actually, just like I explained to you here, there's so many here. There's so, sorry, not on this sheet. Yeah. So you see, there's so many here. Sometimes maybe you just want to check, okay, let me see the value to the product. Okay, I want to see our bakery made the most money or our design studio made the most money. Okay, this labor benefit, is it the one that is taking so much money? Do we want to cut down on the HMO? All these things, depending on what exactly you are looking for, is the way you are going to process how you want to actually analyze your data. I hope this has been clear enough for us. I'm sure to see you, of course, in the next class. Please do what I always say, practice. Don't forget to practice.